As school districts prepare for the fall, there are a lot of scenarios in play, from a hybrid model to keep class sizes down to having kids wear masks and eating in their classroom, all in an attempt to restart in the midst of COVID-19. Carolee McGrath spoke with Springfield School Superintendent Daniel Warwick to hear how the city is making plans based on state recommendations.
There's certainly a lot of planning going on across the state and here in Springfield. We're looking to the commissioner, who's leading a team statewide with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. The team has epidemiologists, educators, health professionals, and teacher union and representation. So different constituencies are represented there. And they're taking a look at the science here, the health ramifications, and of course the educational perspective. We all want our kids to be back in school as soon as possible, but we have to take into account that the safety element. So they're going to be coming out with recommendations for us. And at the local level, I think the school systems are going to be taking a look at the recommendations and how we organize to try to follow those recommendations. At this point, I think that in Massachusetts, the rates seem to be going down and stabilizing. Not everywhere in the country right now. So again, a lot probably has to do with how those rates are running, in late August, early September, when we'd be reopening. A lot of talk about a hybrid model where we'd have less students in a classroom and probably have half of our kids coming in every day on a day A and day B, or week A and week B kind of cycle, and the other students continuing with remote. A lot has to be worked out. There's huge logistical issues to organizing that way. And there's huge issues relative to transportation and the logistics around that, because there's going to be a lot of health elements to take into account and how to get our kids in safely. One thing that we're going to be confronted with is talking to the families of our students, and our schools will be doing that, to see what parents, if we were to be able to open live in the fall, which we hope to be able to do, which parents would only feel comfortable with their kids still doing remote only. And should they want their kids to attend school, again, which parents would want to use the transportation system and which parents would not, due to their safety concerns. And we would honor that. So if a student wanted to come in but not take the transportation, we would organize accordingly. Or if a student wanted to stay on remote learning for now, we would honor that request also. And we'd like to try to get our kids back live. Our teachers have done an absolutely spectacular job, and our principals and our counselors with staying in touch with our families, really working remotely in a very effective manner. But we all know that's not the same as what we could offer in the classroom. So we'd like to get back to live instruction and opening our schools. But again, we're going to have to make sure all the safety factors are accounted for.
Let's talk about some of the recommendations from the Department of Ed, including trying to keep it to 10 kids a class if you were to be doing in-person instruction. I'm sure not just in Springfield, but a lot of teachers all over the place are saying, how would that be possible if you have 25 kids in a classroom? How are you going to make that work if you're doing an A and B schedule?
Well, as usual, Carolee, you've done your homework, and there lies one of the logistical issues I was talking about earlier, how to arrange that. So we think that some parents are only going to want the remote option, but we think we're going to have to do a group A and group B of students who come in, and have to cut our class sizes in half to get down to whatever that recommended size is, 10 or 12, or depending on the size of the classrooms, of course. We'll certainly have that 6-foot distancing in mind and the masks in place and that kind of thing. But it would require us to rotate, have our teachers in, but to cut those class sizes, in essence, by a little more than half.
Right, and people are going to do the best they can with that 6 feet apart, but if you're talking about a pre-K class of 3-year-olds, who want to use the same Play-Doh or whatever it may be, kindergartners, it's difficult to maintain that distance.
You are so right, Carolee. This is going to look very differently in a pre-K as opposed to a high school. But some of the same principles need to exist. We need to cut way down on the class sizes and the masks, that whole kind of a thing. But the same principles apply, the same PPE, maybe increased PPE.
What about academic achievement and how you're going to look at that with the potential of a hybrid model?
So, we know we've been in touch with our kids. Our teachers have really stayed in touch with our kids. So there's been a lot of work done during this situation. Once we got the remote learning in place, and it did take us a few weeks to get all of our computers out to the homes and that kind of thing. But our teachers have been working regularly with our kids, doing their best to get as much as we can get done in this remote environment, done with as many youngsters as we could get to participate. And we're looking closely at those participation numbers. So we have a good feel of what the kids have been doing all spring semester, if you will, and know where we're going to need to start in the fall.
I think one question that some people have is that social emotional component that obviously you can't measure in an online academic test. There's a lot of that is missing, and there's a lot of unknowns as far as how much that is affecting kids who have remained at home and in many ways isolated.
Carolee, you hit the nail on the head on that one as well. You've done your research. The social emotional component was a key piece of what we were thinking about as this unfolded. How do we provide those kind of services to our families? And our counseling force and our City Connects team and our teachers who do so much with families on that have really worked hard to reach out, make sure they stay in touch with families, stay in touch with some of the clinics that are working with families. We have those wraparound services that we keep in place as much as you can in a remote environment, but our staff has worked very hard on that. We provide an array of mental health services in our schools, and we had to keep that going as much as possible during this scenario. But that's a major factor when the kids come back, because I don't think people fully realize the kind of comprehensive mental health services we're actually providing in the schools now. And but our staff, again, I just want to commend them. The outreach just has been incredible. I don't know if you saw the story about one of our counselors, Mike Downey, how he was visiting a house and they had a fire and he helped with that too, and that whole kind of thing. But the outreach has been absolutely spectacular. And we tried to provide as much as we can, knowing that some of those issues were harder to address in that environment, and they're going to be issues to contend with for the families over the summer.
And I know that you're concerned obviously about the academic part, but I'm sure a lot of kids are wondering, what about sports? What about the plays and all of those extracurricular activities that are motivating certainly for them, especially as they move on up to high school?
And another great question. And I think that we have our team. We have a tremendous athletic director, Dwayne Early, here in Springfield, and he's working with the MIAA team. And they're taking a look at what we can do for fall sports. So I don't think it'll be a one size fits all and say either we're going to have all sports or cancel all sports. But I think we're going to look at it as a case by case and say which sports, given the social distancing situation, makes sense for us to continue, and what we can continue and what we would have more difficulty opening with. And there'll be a lot of information coming out from DESE. Again, that'll be a statewide decision. Another thing we've worked hard on, Carolee, is our meal program. We've distributed just about 1.2 million meals from our 18 food sites over the school year, but we're going to continue the daily distribution from those food sites throughout the city. So that'll be available for families all through the summer and likely in the fall if it's still needed.